Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah. Continuing in volume 2, Riyadh al-Salihin, book number 8, the book of virtue. Narrated an Nu'man bin Bashir radiyallahu anhuma. I heard Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, straighten your rows, otherwise Allah will create dissension among you. Al-Bukhari and Muslim. The narration in Muslim is An-Nu'man bin Bashir radiyallahu anhuma said, Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam directed us to keep our rows as straight as arrows. He continued stressing this until he realized that we had learnt it from him, i.e., recognized its significance. One day he came into the masjid and stood up. He was just about to say takbir when he noticed a man whose chest was projected from the row. So he said, O slaves of Allah, you must straighten your rows or Allah will certainly put your faces in opposite direction. This hadith has been mentioned earlier and is reported here for its being germane to this chapter. Put your faces in opposite direction signifies that Allah will create jealousy and enmity in you, which will create dissension rather than unity, weakness rather than strength and power, and murder and conflict instead of peace and tranquility, which will finish the majesty of Islam, and the Muslim will then be overwhelmed with the fear and terror of their enemies. This phrase can also this phrase can also have a literal meaning, that is, in consequence of confusion in your ranks. Allah will turn your face toward the napes of your necks and distort them. May Allah save the Muslim from both these punishments. Narrated Al-Bara bin Azib radiyallahu anhuma that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to pass between the rows from one end to the other, touching our chests and shoulders, i.e., arranging the rows in line and saying, do not be out of line, otherwise your hearts will be in disagreement. He would add, Allah and His angels invoke blessing upon the first row. Abi Dawood. Narrated Ibn Umar radiyallahu anhuma that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, arrange the rows in order, stand shoulder to shoulder, close the gaps, be accommodating to your brother, and do not leave gaps for shaitan. Whoever joins up a row, he will be joined to Allah, i.e., to the mercy of Allah. And whoever cuts off a row, he will cut off from Allah, i.e., from His mercy. Abi Dawood. This hadith also tells us about the straightening of rows. Here the phrase, be accommodating to your brother, means that one must cooperate with him when he tries to set the rows in order. And rather than feeling annoyance on his action, one should happily set the rows right according to his instruction. This hadith tells us that leaving gaps in rows amounts to leaving spaces for shaitan to get in them. To join rows means that no space should be left between the two persons who stand in a line. Similarly, a second row should not be started without completing the first one. To break a row means to leave space in it or start the second row without completing the first. Without completing the first can be words of prayer as well as implication for what it means. May Allah join him or break him. Now,
ومن وصل سوف نسأل الله وسوف join rank Allah will join him.
yes, Jazakallah khair. That is a prayer from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam for the person who straightened the rows, as well as an imprecation for the ones who break the rows. Narrated Anas radiyallahu anhu that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, stand close together in your rows, keep nearer to one another, and put your necks in line. For by him in whose hand my soul is, I see the shaitan entering through the openings in the rows like al-hadfa, i.e., a type of small black sheep found in Yemen. Abi Dawood. This hadith stresses that the rows made for salah should not only be integrated like a solid wall, but be set vertically close to each other also. What it means is that there should not be much space between the two rows. The maximum space allowed for it is 3 span. Space in excess of this has been disapproved and takes away the merits of offering salah in congregation. This formula does not apply to the rows of women because a larger distance between the rows of men and women is more meritorious. Ibn Alan. Put your necks in line here means to stand shoulder to shoulder, a point which has already been stressed. Viewing shaitan secretly entering into the space left in the row can be correct literally as well as technically. In the former case, it is a miracle of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, while in the latter it is wahi, i.e. revelation. Allah Almighty informed him that shaitan enters the rows of the people offering prayers to the space left by them in their rows. Shaitan is pleased to see these gaps as they make his task of creating doubts in the minds of worshippers easy. Narrated Anas radiallahu anhu that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Fill, i.e., complete the first row, then the one next to it, and if there is any deficiency in completeness, it should be in the last row." Abi Dawood. This hadith tells us that completion of rows in their sequence is essential. That is to say, first of all, the first row should be completed, then the second, then the third, and so on and so forth. The last row may be left incomplete if it is short of a full row. Narrated Aisha radiyallahu anha, Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allah and his angels invoke blessing upon those who are on the right side of the road. Abi Dawood. Narrated Al-Bara radiyallahu anhu, whenever we offer salah behind Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we like to be on his right side so that his face might turn toward us at the end of the salah. One day I heard Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam supplicating, "O my Lord, shield me from your torment on the day when you will gather," or said, "resurrect your slave." Muslim. This hadith describes the merit of standing on the right side of the Imam and tells us that for the Imam it is sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to sit after the congregational prayer with his face towards his followers. Narrated Abu Huraira radiyallahu anhu that Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Let the Imam stand in the middle so that those praying behind him should be standing both on his right and his left, and close the gaps." Abi Dawood. Sheikh Al-Albani has stated that two narration of this hadith are majhul, unknown. The second part of it, however, is correct because it is supported by a narration of Ibn Umar quoted earlier. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.
Jazakallah khair.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum.